Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
He's like, oh, shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life. Now LeBron's a 4-time champion, and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable. So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, that was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. We are recording the day after Nico Harrison, the Mavs GM, was available to media and there was recording devices versus kind of a few weeks prior where he just offered select media members. And then you have the Tim McMahon article. So this has just kind of been talking about that as that really just brought it all up again for me, Austin.
Yeah, you're going to lead this. We already had this conversation. You have more of a connection to not just the team, but also, you know what it means to post an article like that as in the journalism spectrum, because it's while I have yet to read the article, it's definitely an accusatory piece.
Yeah, I talked about that and with other people in the journalism world. Just kind of Tim McMahon. Like if this was someone like me posting that, I think it would be a lot less credible because a lot of the sources in it are unnamed sources. But given what Tim McMahon has done and how long he's been in the NBA, he kind of has leeway of going like, this is what I heard. A lot of it is the firing of Casey Smith and just how beloved he was by Luka and by Dirk, which is kind of what was said of like, I don't really care what Dirk says by Nico, which is just this. I was talking about this with someone because I know you understand. I don't think other people outside of Dallas really understand still what this means. Just kind of what having Luka meant to a city. And now he's just in LA and like he's doing better, but
it's hard to compare to like a Lakers fan or a Celtics fan or even a Heat fan that's had a lot of success. Because the players that when they leave, I mean, the Heat, while they've had bad moves, as every team has, the Heat have been a model of consistency ever since Pat Riley stepped foot in their building. Right? They've won 3 championships. They've been to a lot of them. And they don't have any bad moves. Like, sure, the Jimmy Butler saga was messy, but it wasn't I still don't think it was a bad move. And while sure the Lakers have made some dumb decisions, the same thing with the Celtics. The Mavericks are in a very large city, a top 10 population city in the US. However, they're a small market team. What I mean by that is they don't have commercial success. They don't have Dallas is notorious. This is something I've always remembered to Dallas. I was in the car with my dad, okay, and we were hearing about DeAndre Jordan signing with the Mavericks, okay. My dad used to own a volleyball club, okay. We get to where they used to practice, and we were cleaning up and stuff, and he still had the radio going. And then later on, I swear I had already envisioned DeAndre Jordan on the Mavericks, and I hear that he's now not going to the Mavericks and is staying with the Clippers. And to have that memory of that happening is not many cities are going to have a moment like that to where no one wants to go there. It's very similar. I think the Raptors had this problem because they are in Toronto, and it's hard to convince someone. The hockey has a problem with this with free agents. A lot of free agents don't want to go to Canada because of the tax rates and all that stuff. So it's a lot harder to get free agents. So if you trade a guy like McDavid, you're not getting another one. Like, obviously, I don't think the Oilers are going to do that. It's just a comparison. And I would say that Connor McDavid is better than Luka is, but it's a similar enough example for me to make it. You can go Austin Matthews. You want to go Austin Matthews instead. Because Austin Matthews is probably a top 5, top 7 player in the league right now. And that's about where Luka is. I don't think he's better than Jokic. And so it's close with some of those other guys. But still, I think the best example is probably McDavid, even though he's not as good as McDavid. Because he just went to the Cup. He just played the Cup.
Tell by watching them in the playoffs. Like Luka can take over a game. And like he did it in the Western Conference Finals. Sorry to interrupt, but I think McDavid is a perfect example of he just gets traded in the dead of night for something not worth it.
McDavid, no one's really said, I want to go to Edmonton. Like, that's just not something you hear in hockey space. Like, you just don't hear it. People want to go to Toronto. Like, that's the one. Toronto and Montreal are the ones that I'm like, I get it. Like, they can get big free agents because if you're from Canada, you're either probably a Montreal fan or a Maple Leafs fan for the majority of people. Like, sure, there are definitely a lot of fans for all those other teams, but when you're growing up, you're like, I want to play for the Maple Leafs. The amount of, like, John Tavares, like, the amount of people I know that's played in the NHL, it's like, I want to grow up and win a Stanley Cup, be the first person to win a Stanley Cup in 60 years with the Maple Leafs. No one says it about the Oilers. No one says it about the Canucks, right? So if you get a guy or multiple guys in the sense of the Oilers with Draisaitl as well, you can't just give them away. They're worth more than their value, right? Whatever Luka's value is to the Mavs, right? He's worth more to it because the fans love him so much. The deal would have to be not where you think it's a good deal, right? Because I do believe that everybody has something they could be traded for. Like, if the Thunder had sent 7 firsts and Chet and J-Dub to the Mavs for Luka, mathematically, that is a good trade. It is, because you're getting so much capital, young talent and draft capital. But I still don't think it would work because it's the Thunder, right? You can't really trade them to the Shea fans versus Luka fans is a real debate, right? So I don't think you could do that. Meaning that you had to get such a crazy good offer for Luka that it's practically impossible to trade for him.
Exactly.
And I think it's just the connection that Luka and Dirk had to the city to where they basically had a passing of the baton between them in that one season. I still remember with you going to Luka's last game of his rookie season in Dallas, aka Dirk's last game in Dallas. And while Jamal Crawford definitely stole the show and had 51 points, I'm like, Jamal Crawford could play for another 10 years. He only played 1 game in the NBA or 2 games in the NBA after that, which is pretty crazy. But it's just I think Nico's biggest mistake isn't trading Luka. It is maybe a hot take. His biggest mistake was ostracizing Dirk. Because you can question Luka's impact on the city. You cannot question Dirk's. There is a statue outside the arena. You don't ostracize the guy that's on the plaques, right? You don't ostracize, I know there's no Mr. Maverick, but if there was, it would be Dirk, right?
Yeah.
So you cannot go against that guy, because when you do, you will lose so many more fans than you ever thought you could. If Luka was Dirk and you traded Dirk after he lost in the NBA Finals, okay, let's say you trade him after he wins the MVP. So he wins the MVP the year after he loses in the first round, right? And you trade him afterwards. Everyone would think you're so stupid. He just won the MVP, right? That's so dumb. But it's not as bad because you don't have precedents before it of success. You don't know what success looks like. But the Mavs are one of the only teams in the NBA that has known success through basically one guy. Like, just one guy just willing your team to victory. And to say that you can't do it again is against the culture that Dallas has built through Mark Cuban. And I know you do partially blame Mark Cuban. You can kind of go into that. Well, yeah. I don't, but again, it's you have a much closer connection to the entire story. So
yeah, I think you bringing up ostracizing Dirk as well, and just kind of like Dirk is upset by it, of just kind of because they built that connection. I wrote something and it was like, I remember that Dirk game and I'm like, if I can somehow be here, if this can just happen with Luka, it'd be amazing. And then you have the stuff with Luka, was like, I was going to spend my whole career there. That just hurts. And it's not the trade to, like, I was thinking about Donovan Mitchell. Like when that's a small market team with Utah, but you got like 5 picks out of
Well,
just
and
from Rudy
also
Gobert.
they had not made a run yet.
Yeah,
If the Jazz had just lost in the title, I do think there would be outcry. In warranted outcry. But you got a lot of draft capital, and I don't know if he was going to re-sign. I don't know if he was committed. I don't know one way or the other. I do not know. I'm not going to make an opinion on it because I don't know. But if there was a sense inside the building that he was not going to stay, then I get it, right? So
yeah. To me, you have that capital, so even there's just so many things wrong. But yeah, it's ostracizing Dirk and like just not understanding what the city of Dallas means. And so my thing is also kind of connecting to Dirk is Casey Smith was beloved by Dirk, and Luka loved like Casey Smith, and there were people that Luka was connected to. And it just seems like Nico from day one, or maybe a little bit longer, once he got to know Luka, he was jealous of Luka and just what he was. This is my opinion. But he starts pushing away guys, and one of them is Casey Smith, which Casey Smith is now with the Knicks and was kind of brought by the Knicks because of Jalen Brunson. It was like Jalen Brunson was, I was afraid, this is all from the Tim McMahon article, of going, I missed him, and it just feels so great to have him. And you can see the Knicks injuries have gone down, and the guy to replace him isn't even qualified as just an NBA trainer. And there have been issues as well. There's a Derek Lively story in the article. It's just awful that this happened, and that created the divide between Luka and Nico just got rid of him. And to me, it's also someone pointed out the Casey Smith firing happened while Mark Cuban was still the owner of the Mavs. I blame part of it on Mark Cuban because if you look at the piece, he helped put the pieces in place. He put the dominoes that would eventually fall and lead to this trade. And that is hiring Nico Harrison. And then I know Mark Cuban has now gone on this thing of like, hey, I should be having control of basketball operations. He didn't get that in writing. And for someone as a businessman, and also no matter where you feel, you can look into the new owners, the Patrick Dumont, the Edelson family. I feel like Mark Cuban should have known what he was doing and should have gotten it in writing if he could. And it shouldn't have just been a handheld agreement because Nico Harrison just basically pushed him out, and this led to the trade. So I think it was just bad business by Mark Cuban for trusting them based on their previous and what they've done with their money. So part of me is Mark Cuban. You hired Nico Harrison, who of course did that. And then you had a guy who had no knowledge of basketball that wasn't going to listen to you, and it wasn't listening to you anymore. So part of that is you helped set this up, but it's 80-90% on Nico. Patrick Dumont, you can see kind of, he's trying to wiggle out of it because he's seeing the money that he's losing from Luka. It's just not fans are upset.
I think Nico Harrison was a mouthpiece for Patrick Dumont. I don't think he actually knew one way or the other. I think there's some speculation to whether Nico Harrison was acting in a place of malice or in a place of just ignorance, you could say. And while it is partially ignorance from Patrick Dumont, I think he just trusted the guy that was already hired to him because he doesn't know basketball and was going to support whatever decision he made one way or the other, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that kind of the sense you get?
Yeah, I think it was Nico. Like, if I'm Nico and you're Patrick Dumont, I just go up to you and like, hey, Luka's not the right guy. He's not worth it. You're going to have to pay him $325 million, whatever. He's not worth it. I'm going to trade him. Patrick Dumont has no idea. And he's just like, okay, do it. And then the thing that bugs me is Patrick Dumont and just the way Luka was kind of attacked on his way out. Of just like, oh, he was fat. Couldn't do all this, didn't do anything, as you were just in the NBA Finals. And he wasn't terrible. So to me, that's my other thing where I'm mad at Dumont, because Dumont was just speaking whatever. And now he's kind of realizing, oh, the money's going down. I need to fix this. But I'm not going to forget what he said. And just calling, like, he brought up Shaq as a guy that worked out a ton in the offseason, which is just not true. Like, Shaq has said, yeah, I didn't work out in the offseason. It's just
to back when he was in Orlando and the very beginning of LA. But then kind of when they started to win, after he won his first, Shaq really didn't care anymore about working out. He was just like, on me, right? So that kind of went out the window there.
And you just do it like you were in the finals and he's 25 for Luka. Who cares if he likes to have beer? Just let him have the beer and he'll figure it out, or have Dirk talk to him. It's just really sad. And like, I just can't believe one man, which is Nico Harrison, just tore down what this Mavs franchise meant. Like, I don't view this as the same Mavs franchise that it was that we grew up with Dirk, because there's just no values at all.
Is there any way, not to save it, but to bring back some of the fans that have left?
I think you can bring some fans back by firing Nico immediately and just apologizing as much as you can. You have to get Dirk back with you. I think that's the way. Like, you fire Nico and then you do everything you can, if you're Patrick Dumont, to get Dirk back to the organization.
Is there anything you can compare this to, even outside of sports?
I have an inappropriate example, which I've kind of stolen from a podcast, but I can make it appropriate. Basically, you're in a relationship, two people love each other, except they are not ready to admit to each other, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Because Luka was going to sign the Supermax and be like, hey, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you. Of course, the Mavs situation is the other person. You have Mavs and Luka in this relationship scenario. Because I don't think there will ever be something like this again, because people will see what happened with the Luka situation and be like, we cannot do that. If we're going to trade a guy, we're going to do something. Just don't do that. So I come up with this hypothetical. You're two people, one, like, they both love each other very much, but then a third party just comes in, rips one person, goes, you're over there now, with, I would say, the attractive person, which to me is the Lakers. Like, they're the attractive, like, everyone wants to be a Laker. And then, so that person's there, and then the other person gets moved. I would say it's kind of like sort of Helen of Troy. Like, you have the goddess, just takes Helen, puts her with the other person. So still working through that, but then that person starts to fall in love with the attractive person, which is the Lakers. And you're like, okay, they're happy. Then the other person's like, well, I don't want this person. Well, the third party is just like, no, he's better for you. No, they're not. Like, I know, no, this is bad. And then you just can't do anything else. Like, they're not going to come back because you see they're happy. So
I think the problem with that example is look, there's a lot of fans that still think that Luka will come back because he loves Dallas.
Yeah, we're in a group chat. He's not coming back.
He can't. If I was Luka, it would be such a breach of trust that I'm big on loyalty. I love teams that display loyalty and hate teams that ignore it. But this goes outside the realm of, like, your average loyal guy, right? And it would be such a breach of trust that I would refuse, even if Dumont and everyone around the organization was gone. Because it means something a little bit more than just... It's just too much. It's just too much. You can't... Because in the realm that the organization, I wouldn't want to see those people happy, right? Exactly. Because I did something. Like, I could not be the one to bring them happiness. And if I returned, I would do that, right? I could not be that person. And I don't think Luka will ever return. I don't think...
No. Because he's
maybe after he retires, he goes to Mavs games. I could see him going to Mavs games after he retires, like Dirk, right? Yeah. Now, he already said he was moving back to Slovenia right after he retires. Didn't he say that?
I think so, and he's like, he doesn't want to stay too long. Like, he wants to go live on a farm.
Yeah. But he would still, in his retirement, would go to Mavs games. I could see, potentially. But the odds of him playing in a Mavs jersey again, I think, are as close to 0% as you can get.
Yeah. And Luka's that, I would say he's a psychopath on the court because he holds grudges on the court. And I don't see a guy doing that. Whenever he sees that Mavericks logo, he's just going to think of the pain it cost him. Like, he threw his phone and broke his phone across the room.
Well, I think we've all experienced that level of anger before.
I thought about it. I'm like, I just wish I was rich enough to do that. But I was also driving when it happened, so I couldn't really – I had to drive. But I
still right now feel like I'm in a fever dream. Like, I just don't believe this actually happened.
I know.
I think about it all the time. I have moments probably every time I watch Luka play where I'm like, I'm going to wake up at some point, right, where this is not a real thing. And that's not even with me having really look, I cared about Luka in Dallas, what he meant for the city, but I'm not a Mavs fan, right? So it doesn't hurt as much as it hurts for y'all. And it just – listening to my mom and my dad regarding it is a lot different because my dad's not a big basketball fan. He likes basketball, but he doesn't love basketball. He's more of a football fan. And my mom was just like, "Can we trade Nico instead?" I vividly remember her asking me that like a couple of days after the trade, and I was like, "No, Mom, you can't do that." But
yeah,
she knows nothing. She just knows. I mean, she works at a school, right? So she just knows what the kids are saying about Luka. So it's a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing.
The thing that's going to annoy me is we're recording tonight is the Lakers game, which I'm going to watch, which is going to hurt. Because, like, I want to watch Luka, but I'm not going to be a Lakers fan because I'm not going to ride and die with the Lakers. I'm just going to be happy when they win, but I'm going to be sad because I don't have Luka and he's not on my team. The thing is, I know Lakers fans, and I can just imagine they're like, dude, when he just went after Ant, I know everything about Luka. Like, do not explain to me. Like, did you know Luka can do this? Yes, I know so much about him, and I'm sure other fans know more than me. It's just going to be like other people learning about Luka and then going, how can this happen? We don't know. That's why we're so upset about it. Like, and then I was just thinking about, like, he's going to win a championship, and I'm going to be so happy he won, but also so sad. It's just awful. I hate it. Like, yesterday, I was, like, back in the sadness. Thought I was getting past it, and then I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, how? Like, I just need Nico gone and to forget about the Mavericks. Like, I wish they would move away. Just no more NBA in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. I would rather deal with that because I don't want to see them. It's awful. I hate it so much.
I get it. I get it. I know what you're talking about. And sports is just such an ingrained culture, I think, in Western culture, not just in the U.S. In Western culture, sports is just such a mainstream thing. And people get truly involved with the teams that are next to them. And it's going to be a while till people are over it. It will happen, right? It's going to happen. But it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. And people are like, oh, but he can have a LeBron moment and come back. LeBron chose to leave Cleveland. I know Cleveland didn't treat – Cleveland was stupid in the way that they tried to build around him, but they weren't actually – they tried their best. Was their best bad? 100%. They could not build around him, but they tried their best. And LeBron knew that. LeBron knew they were trying, right? It wasn't a lack of trying. It was their bad. And eventually, after he left, they got multiple first-round picks. They traded a first-round pick for Kevin Love, and he came back, right? And LeBron was fulfilling something to the city to make the city love him again, right? The city already loves Luka after he's gone. There's no reason to go back. There's nothing to rectify on Luka's part. It's the organization that has to rectify it. And that's just not something that I think is going to happen.
Yeah, no. And it's just never going to happen. Like, the city loves him. I would love it if he came back for the city, but it's just too much. Unless Dirk is the GM and owner or whatever. Like, unless, like, Dirk helps him, but no. It's awful. Well, yeah, I don't know how long we've been recording. Oh, it's 24 minutes. That's not bad. But yeah, so I'm sure we'll do more of this in the future. It's just going to keep getting worse. Then I'll move on from it, which I've like sort of moved on, but it's also like it's hard to watch other sports or just get excited about sports because like he's a fantastic player. So yeah, that's really all we have. There'll probably be more thoughts as more deals happen. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.